Do you want to be your own accountant this year? Let's talk about that because you can actually save a lot of cash if you know how to really keep your own books, as long as your business processes are not really too complicated. Okay, so how do you actually be your own accountant this year? Let me give you an overview first. All businesses, I mean, big, small, mid-size, need an organized, efficient accounting process to actually ensure steady cash flow, right? Also, an optimal tax burden and the company's overall financial health. So, while it's really simple enough for large businesses to hire, let's say, dedicated teams for their accounting system, the typical small business owner, such as you and me, won't have it that easy. So it often falls upon business owners such as you and me and solopreneurs, by the way, solo entrepreneurs, to do the bookkeeping services, to do the bookkeeping themselves, especially when just starting. So you got to really have a clear idea about how to be your own accountant, especially if you are trying to really save money on bookkeeping software or accounting software. So the first thing you want to do is to actually learn the basics of accounting. So for if you're going to be the accountant for your own business, I want you to grasp the basic accounting principles. And so while I can go on forever on various accounting topics, there are a few key points to remember. First and foremost, you want to understand the purpose of accounting. Accounting is simply balancing your profits, in other words, your assets, with your expenses, liabilities, ensuring you can make the right decisions to continue to turn a profit. Okay, I'll go on. I'll be more granular in a few minutes. Okay, on how to choose the perfect accounting system for your company. Ensure you never mix business expenses and profits with personal finances, even if you are the only one working in the company. Mixing business and personal finances can quickly lead to messy, confusing accounts, incorrect records, and potentially a tax audit from the IRS. You do not want to have that. So if you want to be your own accountant this year, I want you to also open a business bank account. You want to keep your personal and business banking separate, okay? And so you can go to a credit union. You can also go to a regular bank, maybe the bank where you have your personal accounts. You can also see if they offer business bank accounts. If they do, then open also a business account so you can segregate personal affairs from business affairs. If you want to be your own accountant this year, you have to really think about establishing a bookkeeping system. It's one of those things where a bookkeeping system is not that complicated, but you have to really know how to go about it, how to do it properly, and most importantly, how to make sure that the numbers that you're showing at the end of the period are actually accurate. End of the period can be 1 month, it can be a quarter, or it can be a full year. So if you are going to go with a single entry system of accounting or a double entry system, then you have to really choose from the get-go. Now, the double entry system of accounting is actually the best actually. That's the one that actually allows you to comply with accounting standards. A single entry system of accounting is a form of bookkeeping in which every one of a company's financial transactions is recorded as a single entry in a log. So new small businesses usually use this process because of its simplicity, cost effectiveness, and lack of formal training. In other words, you do not have to really to have even an Excel spreadsheet. You can do this yourself, not a problem. But a single entry system of accounting is not the compliant procedure. The compliant one is a double entry system. So a double entry system requires a much more detailed bookkeeping process where every entry has an additional corresponding entry to a different account. So consider the word double in double entry to stand for debit and credit. The two totals for each must balance, otherwise there is an error in the recording. A double entry system will provide complete records and allows for the creation of proper financial statements. Okay. The cool thing is many software options are available today that make a double entry accounting system easier to manage. So you can have FreshBooks, QuickBooks. you can have zero, you can have wave, so that you are able to go through the whole double entry bookkeeping process faster, simpler, and in a very easy manner. Okay, so that's really cool, especially if you are thinking about growing your business at some point. Okay, so you have financial reports, you are able to prepare tax returns real fast. So that's really fantastic. If you want to be your own accountant this year, you also need to learn how to categorize your expenses. So, first, you need to learn the basics of accounting, open a business bank account, establish a bookkeeping system, and also think about categorizing your expenses. So, categorizing expenses will help keep your company organized for budgeting purposes, and also you are able to total the expenses you can write off at tax time, because tax deductions are going to help you pay your fair share of taxes, but not overpay, but also not underpay. Okay, so when it comes to expense categories, you can actually use software to actually make things happen in a streamlined manner, or you can do things manually, not a problem. So, popular category headings you can create include advertising expenses, business vehicle or business vehicles, payroll, employee benefits. You can have meal and entertainment expenses. You can have office expenses, office supplies, professional services, rent, utility and phone, or travel expenses. There are some companies that actually like to mix travel and entertainment. It really depends on what kind of accounting setup you want to have, or what kind of operational setup you have in your business. So, due to the introduction of the TCJA, so the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act by the Trump administration in late 2017, the laws regarding tax deductions for meals and entertainment expenses for businesses in the U.S. have actually changed. Okay, so if you are a business owner, you can still deduct 50% on meals if the expense meets certain conditions, and entertainment expenses such as sporting events or concerts no longer qualify. So it's one of those things you have to be aware of, especially if your industry spends. Your industry, if your business spends some sizable cash in those categories where you don't have a direct fiscal fiscal advantage. So be very careful how you categorize your business expenses. If you want to be your own accountant this year, you need to think about establishing a budget. Establishing a budget is very good when it comes to helping you anticipate changes in your business, but have a clear idea also about what could work and what could really what work and what doesn't work. Okay, and what I want to say here is that if you have categorized the expenses for your business, you are able to determine your budget for the year. You can do it for 3 months, for 6 months, for 9 months. It really is. It's even for a month. Okay, so it's important to think about budgeting, because if you have employees authorized to make purchases for the company, you want to make sure they do not overspend. In other words, when you have a budget, you are able to do a variance analysis to see if you overspend or underspend. So you want to determine a total figure, then break it down and assign amounts to the categories listed in the previous session that I just gave you. In the first year or two of business, these numbers will likely need to change a lot, but establishing a budget at the outset gives you a great place to start, informs your staff of spending limits, and allows you to better plan for the future. And you got to really have that in place. You also want to use accounting software for invoicing and payroll. If you want to be your own accountant this year, you want to think about having software to help you with invoicing. I mean, you can issue invoices manually, but it will be too tedious, especially if you want to do also a payroll in a manual way. Okay, you are really exposing yourself to errors and audits. So invoicing and payroll are two of your most important accounting processes. Let me explain a little further here. Invoicing, you want to ensure that you have a proper system in place for invoicing. The cash your business generates from invoices paid by clients will keep your company going. Today, the cool thing is software and app solutions would allow you to build an invoice template with your company's standard information, the logo, the colors, everything, the address. This software automatically generates a new invoice number every time you create an invoice, set payment terms, and notifies you when a client's payment is overdue. The top ones offer online and phone support too. So I actually discussed in another video the top accounting software or the top accounting apps. What about payroll? Payroll is an interesting process because you're able to pay your employee, but you're also able to comply with regulatory standards. A reliable payroll process is vital for two reasons. The first is that depending on the size of your business, it could be your largest regular expense. Second, a proper payroll system will satisfy the employee you hire. Employees will look for work elsewhere if you do not pay consistently and accurately. Getting a payroll system in place at the outset can save you years of grief. So one thing I want to explain here is that when it comes to a payroll, I want to really payroll is really quite essential for your business. Not only because you want to automate things from the get-go, but also you want to really prevent audits from state authorities or even federal authorities such as the IRS. Okay, typically a payroll system will deduct taxes from each check before the employee is paid, and these taxes include Social Security, Medicare, and federal and state income taxes. Some states like Florida do not actually deduct income tax. Now, because payroll can be a time-consuming process, most businesses today use a software system that handles the tax deductions and directs the net amounts into employees' bank accounts automatically. So that's kind of cool because it gives you all kinds of flexibility. So depending on the software, some systems can also calculate wages for hourly paid staff and generate summaries based on the business owner's needs. So that's kind of cool. Now, if you think about top accounting software options, you have FreshBooks, you have QuickBooks, you have Gusto, you have Paychex Flex, and you have OnPay. So you have a lot of possibilities, especially if you are trying to get things done in a streamlined manner. And what I want to say here is that you have the possibility also to get things done in a scalable manner as well. Now, if you want to be your own accountant this year, you got to really think about paying your taxes. I mean, paying your fair share of taxes, okay? So you want to keep your records organized, accurate, and 100% compliant. So the more work you put into developing an effective accounting system, the least time you actually you will spend stressing out around tax season. So most accounting software, such as QuickBooks or FreshBooks, has integrated functionality to help you keep better tax records and reduce your tax burden. And so the cool thing is that you are able to get things done faster. And tax preparation fees can add up with disorganized records. So consider quality software and investment. So those are the top 7 tips to be your own accountant. Let me give you a few considerations to really keep in mind. What are the benefits of being your own accountant? Let's talk about that. There are actually countless benefits of being your own accountant, and these benefits for small business owners include reduced cost. You are able to work at your own pace, so you have some kind of freedom, and you also have familiarity with the business. So when I say a reduced cost, you want to really understand that an accountant can be costly. Even if you only hire them, if you hire him or her periodically versus using an in-house staff member. So doing your own accounting can help you save money over time, an essential consideration if you are a small business owner. Also, accountants tend to be fast and efficient, but also busy. So if your accountant is swamped with other clients, your tasks might not get done as quickly as you would like. So when doing your own accounting, you can work at your own pace and meet your own self-imposed deadlines. And finally, you have familiarity with the business, so you have knowledge and expertise in your industry that an accountant simply won't. This can help out with important business decisions regarding cash flow, your business plan, and general day-to-day operations. There are other considerations for doing your own accounting. I mean, the thing is that you have to think about data management, for instance, financial analysis, consultation, financial reports, regulatory compliance. Okay, that's important to really think about it from a scalability point of view. Now, the question is if you want to be your own accountant, you have to really understand that there are certain basic procedures to really think about, but it's all about how complex your accounting procedures or your accounting processes are. It depends on how complex your business operations are. If you are running a business, let's say a business with multiple operations, with multiple transactions, that's just better to outsource the whole thing. But if you have a very simple, a very streamlined, a very lean process, then you can do it yourself by following the 7 rules that I just gave you, right? And you have to understand that if you are not, let's say, an accountant, you can still call yourself an accountant without a CPA. Okay? Technically speaking, you don't need to have formal credentials of any kind to advertise yourself as an accountant. With that said, however, the knowledge and expertise of CPAs, in other words, certified public accountants, are undeniable. So you should consider investing in the services of one if possible, especially if your business is growing and you feel like you will need some kind of expertise to streamline the operation. So one thing I want to say here is that you have to understand that you can actually you can hire a CPA, but this costs money. Okay, a CPA can cost you anywhere from $150 to $175, sometimes $200 per hour. Yeah, if you have a very good CPA, you can really think a CPA is as costly as a lawyer, by the way. Okay, especially if that CPA also happens to be a tax lawyer, that's going to cost you way more. One thing for sure is that CPA fees can range greatly depending on their location, experience, and the scope of a certain accounting job. So if you have a CPA in Dover, Delaware, versus LA or versus New York, you're not talking about the same magnitude, the same scale of payment. You are talking about, a large variety here. You one thing for sure, and I'm going to close on this. It's entirely possible to learn accounting to run your own business and eventually pass off the responsibility when your company grows. You can be a self-taught accountant by educating yourself and using handy accounting software tools. Now, the CPA, the license, the designation, the CPA designation, you can only have it after actually passing an exam and meeting state requirements. So the terminology CPA is more regulated than the terminology accountant. You can be your own accountant, but you cannot be a CPA unless you receive a license from the state. As a recap into this conversation, I gave you tips to be your own accountant. So I give you the overview and then the steps and then finally the considerations. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.